Welcome to the Daily Dish with New York Times bestselling author Leanne Ely. Putting vibrancy back into your everyday life and feeding your heart, mind, body, and soul. Join us every day at 1 p.m. Eastern for Motivational Monday, Tuesday's Tip, Wise Woman's Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, Food Fight Friday, and of course Q&A, where no question is off limits, and Soulful Saturday. Here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
It's time! Who's in the house? Who's in the house? Come say hello. There's my girl, Catherine, Jocelyn, and Patsy. First one's out of the gate. Good to see you. It's Transformational Tip Tuesday, and I'm really excited about this whole week. We're calling it C Week because I'm pulling out all the C's. Well, you know, today I got so busy in a bunch of cool things that I've got going on. Ooh, look at all my lovelies coming in. There's Jackie and Carol. Who else did I see? Angie, Mary Ann, Margot, Sharon's in the house. Doris is there. Who else? I know I missed somebody. Carla. How can I miss you, Carla? Vicki, it's really good to see you. I'm so glad you're all here. Tammy, I haven't seen you forever. So glad to see you. Jane, Joanne, our girl Joanne. We love our Joanne. Juanita, Shelly, Mary Ann, Lily, Robin. Marguerite's here. Diane, good to see you. Janet's here. Look at all of you. Thanks for showing up. You know, when you show up, that says something about you and what you're all about. And today we're going to be talking about 2 C's. I had 3, couldn't get to it. So I got with the 2. Lots going on around here, and I'm working hard on that book. I'm telling you what, that book is going to be ready August 6th. That's my goal. I made it in my 12-week goal. So come on in. Good to see you. Amy, you're here. Good to see you as well. Everybody's nice to see. You know, it's fun to hang out together, isn't it? This is how we do community and how we do connection. And everybody's here. That's the big thing. Everybody is here. We have a great quote of the week. You ready for it? Okay, this is a 2x4. This is a cosmic 2x4. I'm just going to say. Almost every successful person begins with 2 beliefs. The future can be better than the present, and I have the power to make it so. You know, constantly, one of the things that got me through a dark place in my life, and I've had a few, I'm not going to lie, is I always believed that I had the ability to do a little bit better, that I wasn't a victim, that I wasn't going to just kowtow and hover in a corner and cower, that I had the ability, regardless, to figure it out. And I'm going to say you have the ability to do that too. Am I right, Lisa? Huh? Jane, Wendy, Corliss. We all have the ability. We all have the ability. Are you going to look for it is the thing? Or are you going to focus all of your energy on being a victim? That's really convenient. And that becomes a lifestyle for some folks. So the choice is yours. You know, you've got your one shot. Remember Hamilton, you've got your one shot. Yeah, I know. I love that quote too. It's blows me away. So a couple of things. First of all, we do still have our wonderful quote mugs, you know, our mindful mugs. There's a whole philosophy behind them. Check it out at savingdinner.com/mug to find out about this. And also don't forget, hand wash these so you don't lose them. Or use them as, you know, I use my first one. Look at this. I use mine for pencils and pens and stuff. And it's always there. It's still giving me the same jolt that I need, but this is a good one too. Hey, Martha, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Eileen is here too. I missed you. Yes. You're all in the house. And that makes my day. Our supplement of the week is 5 cha-cha-cha supplements of the week. We call it the immunity high 5. These are the 5 nutrients that are so important for your immune system. You know, you have to build your immune system. You have to give your immune system what it needs so it can operate fully. That's what these are about. They're all based on science. You can find out more about them at savingdinner.com/show. And not only that, but we're going to give you 2 volumes of our pressure cooker menus. Yeah, you can use them in your, you can use it in a pressure cooker. You can also use them in your Instant Pot, which is a pressure cooker. But people always ask me, same thing? Yes, indeed. Hey, Suzanne. Hey, Vanessa. And yes, you can use them. And yes, important, because who doesn't need to take the pressure off by using a pressure cooker? Ta-da, I did that. Anyway, there's 16 weeks of menus there with everything that you're going to need. And it's $54 value. We're giving it to you absolutely free. Yesterday, I saw one of those word search things on Facebook. You know, what are the first 3 words you see? Yours were connection, alignment, and self-care. Whoa. Juanita, can you say reticular activating system? You think? Absolutely. Hey, Denise, Mary, good to see you. That is an awesome thing. Isn't it funny how things just drop into our lives when we start putting it out there? We have to put it out on the radar, right? Or we'll forget all about it. Anyway, so those are, just some things that I had for you that I wanted to tell you about some of our deals that we have going on right now. You can still get the Vibrant Body Detox. We have that going on. Isn't it so much fun? Isn't it so easy? Yeah, somebody had written, and I don't, right there in, I can't remember who it was, I'm sorry. But in our Hot Melt Sprint group, they said, this is so much easier than the one we did before. And I'm telling you it is, and I think it's just as effective. Without the nausea, without all the other stuff. And this is Vibrant Body Detox. You can find it at savingdinner.com/restore. You can get the supplement and you can get the plan that we're all using together. But, the whole idea is we do go from one thing to the one thing to the one thing. Why? To keep it connected, to keep from falling off the rails, to keep on course. Am I right, Elizabeth? She knows. She does this all the time. Elizabeth's one of our star sprinters. Makes all the difference in the world. There's my girl, Susan, all the way from Oregon. It's good to see you, Susan. This Saturday, we have the Take Back Your Life Journal Workshop. Ta-da! So if you have this, even if you went to last Saturday's, you can come to this workshop. You've got a link and everything. It's already been sent to you. I want to indeed emphasize that you need to get your homework done, which is sent to you with your receipt when you buy the journal. Now, if you're wondering what this is all about, I don't have enough time in this broadcast to really give you the full Monty, but if you go to savingdinner.com/journal, you'll see what it's about. It is different than any kind of goal planning or any kind of goals that you've ever set. This is active. It's in it. You're in it daily. And I didn't bring my journal down, but I'm telling you, this imprints on your brain. You make new connections. You do declarative affirmations and intentional goals, things that are going to light you up and things that are going to change your life. And you do it with just 3 goals and you do it in 12 weeks. Sounds impossible, right? Well, wait till you find out. And anybody who's already been to, we had a lot of people who've already been to the workshop. You can show up again. Okay. Hey, Patsy, good to see you. It's good to see you. I'm glad to see you. She's one of my favorites. She made me this darling little cross stitch I am an athlete thing. And I've got it over here. I've got it over sitting on my desk over here on my other side desk. So I'm going to put a little frame on it because it's so cute and put it right across from my bike. So as I'm pedaling away and cursing, because that's what I do when I pedal, I say all kinds of terrible sailorish things. I can look at that and just remember, I'm an athlete. I am an athlete. That's part of my whole thing. So speaking of quotes, we also have our quote decks, which, okay, there's my forehead. Are you glad to see that? These are the quote decks. And by the way, we are getting ready to do the 3rd batch. Can you believe it? So these are getting a little scarce. We still have enough. If you want them, it's time to get them. Go to savingdinner.com/quote, quote, terrible sailors things. You know what I'm saying. Bad, Leanne. Bad language. Mark always says, oh, she must be on the bike. He knows. Because I'm screaming at are you kidding? Dial it up to what? No. Action is the foundational key to all success, says Picasso. And there you go. Look, see how I put it on the quote deck frame? Oh, it's so cute. And this looks at me all day long, or whatever 2x4, cosmic 2x4 that is in this deck of 56 cards. You got to get it. That's all. When they're gone, they're gone. Savingdinner.com/quote. And you'll get the little stand that goes with it. Hi, Diane. Marguerite's here too. And there's my girl, Sarah. I would have been upset had you not been here. Robin's in the house too. Yay. All right. So I gave you all the other things. And the other thing is I opened the doors to our brand new program, which is starting on Tuesday, June 1st. It's a 30-day program called the Hot Melt 30. And all I can tell you is this. You're going to have to go see the page, right? But I want you to understand this. If you're in this place of saying, I want to go all in, I want to go all the way, I want to go to the next level, and I want to do it with a bunch of women who are going to have my back, then you got to check out the Hot Melt 30. Go to savingdinner.com/30, 30, or 30, however you want to do it, and you'll see the program and you can get it there. We will be inviting you to a workshop, I guess is really what it essentially is, on Monday, the 24th. It's for people who are part of the Hot Melt 30 on really how to dial this thing in, because you're going to have tons of questions. You're going to be saying, so what is this going to look like? I'm going to set up a sample of what a day looks like. It's going to be fire. Fire. Somebody throw me some fireballs in the chat. I'm feeling the fire. So this is something, it's going to be, what a way to kick off what a way to kick off the summer. What a way to say, I have everything that I need. It is in 2 weeks, isn't it? What a way to say, you know what? I am so much stronger than I thought I was, because you are. You know, we give ourselves so many passes, and it's time. Catherine did it. Got me some fireballs there. It's time to light it up. It's time to light it up and go to the next level. Because as you'll see, doing this, it's not just about the food. It's about all the things. And there's a way to dial them all in. And I've got it. It's right here at the Hot Melt 30. And we're jumping out of our pants right now. So we're excited about it. I want you to be excited about it too, and join. We already have a few hundred people. savingdinner.com/30. That's it. 30. Yes, you're gonna absolutely love it. I think I did everything. Right. Yeah. Oh, and Fridays. Hey, there comes my fireballs. I love the fireballs. We always have question and answer on Friday. You know that, right? Send it in to support@savingdinner.com/nothing. Savingdinner.com. Support@savingdinner.com. And then subject line is question for Leanne on Friday. Listen, I want you to know something. I will answer all your questions as best that I can and I will research them. I'll do whatever I can as a nutritionist, as a science geek, as somebody who wants to support you. If you have other questions, like how did you do your cute hair? I've had to do that one before. Or show me your manicure. I mean, you know. I will answer nearly everything. Well, pretty much everything. Nothing's off the table, right? Well, maybe. Anyway, that's all you need to do. Cooking, that's a good one, right? All right, so let's get to it. Today, we're going to be talking about being confident and convicted. Let's change that. We're going to talk about conviction leading to confidence, because that's really what this is all about. And how often do we really talk about conviction, right? You know, there's two kinds of convictions, duh. I mean, I know that you know this. Conviction is a formal declaration of a judge saying, you're guilty. Put them in cuffs, take them off to jail, you know? And it's not cute little jewelry cuffs. No, these are not cuffs of your own choosing. These are cuffs from the court, taking you away, booking you into prison, putting you under a sentence. And unfortunately, what happens with us is when we don't heed our own conviction, we create a conviction. You get that? If we don't heed our own conviction, we will get a conviction. We will be handed a sentence. That's big stuff. And that is one of the reasons why I want to be talking about this, because so often what happens is, you know, maybe we've got our little quote deck, you know, and we've got a little cosmic 2x4 happening, sitting there on our little stands, and we're going, oh, that's just a cosmic 2x4. Well, what are you going to do about it? How's that going to affect your life? How are you going to apply this principle? Because conviction, also the second one, of course, is it gives you the freedom to live a different life if you address the conviction in the first place. So, for example, let's say You go to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, you stay on this path, you're on your way to fill in the blank chronic disease. You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to figure this stuff out. And you got, and you know, talk to a nutritionist, do this and do that. And so many times, and I've heard this because I've done the coaching, how confused they are, just like, well, what do I do? And then I watched a documentary a while ago, and I'm telling you, the food these people were eating, and they were doing it all in the name of being healthy. And it's like they had some, you know, low fat, healthy cracker crap in a box. You know, those are the things, right? They had all these different, because they didn't know. And when we don't know better, we can't do better. But I will tell you this, that if you are living with, under, and about conviction, things shift. When you make a decision that this is no longer what you want, I no longer want to have blood tests that look like this. I no longer want to feel like this in my own body. I no longer want this pain. I no longer want to be fearful of not being able to get on a ride with my kid at the amusement park. Whatever it is, when it becomes a conviction, it becomes something that is such a firmly held belief that you don't move from it. It's religion, it's politics, it's food, for heaven's sakes. People are like that about food. It's even health. You know, we see this all the time, and there's a lot of very opinionated people, and everybody comes to the place and says it's all based on science. And yes, of course, you know, we do believe a lot of our own, you know, of course we do. We all have confirmation bias too, don't we? I mean, that's just the way we all roll. All of us. Nobody's immune. Nobody. But you know what I want to say about that? Who you are is who you stand up and say that you are and then do. Right? That's who you are. And if you're doing it under conviction, nobody can take that away from you. I'm sure you've seen, you know, where vegans, like these very, very convicted vegans who are throwing, you know, buckets of blood on celebrities who they think are wearing fur or something. You know, you've seen that. They do things like that and chain themselves to trees that won't get cut down. And these are environmentalists, but these people are all living under a very serious conviction. This is how they roll. Now you can say that, well, that's not right. You can say, I don't think so. You can say whatever you want to say about it. It's not your conviction though, is it? And unless it affects you, you know, of course we are all like that. I mean, I think having a violent act of throwing paint on somebody is it's terrible. But they're entitled to their conviction. That doesn't necessarily mean they're entitled to their action. They're entitled to their conviction though. And when we live under conviction, we see the need to change, don't we? We see the need to change something. Sarah just said conviction is the needle mover for people who know better but aren't doing better. It's true. It's true, because there comes a time. We all have a reckoning. We all have a time of reckoning where we're sitting across from the doctor, or where we get a photograph and we're saying, that's not me. Yeah, it is. We all get something. We see something, or something moves us just a little bit and makes us see something a little bit different. The perspective has changed because the conviction changed. And conviction is absolutely critical and absolutely important when you make a decision to do something that you have the ability to stand on. The reason why is because there's a lot connected to it. It's your brain, it's your emotions, it's your heart. It becomes for some a mission. It becomes for some like, this is the only way out. This is the only thing that we can do. But here's the thing. When we lack conviction, what do we lack? A lot of times we lack belief, you know, morals even, lack of a moral compass. We lack aspiration, faith. That's what happens when we don't live when we don't live in conviction and with our own conviction and whatever the conviction needs to be. And I know this, and you know it as well, that my butt is lit on fire when I get convicted about something. So does yours. We all do. We all have that way. And think about Scarlett O'Hara, I'll never go hungry again. Conviction. And she was going to do anything and everything in her power to never be in that same place again. Why? She's convicted that she doesn't have to do that if she can figure it out, because everything is highly figure outable. That was Scarlett O'Hara, and this is integrity. This is what integrity looks like, is when you live by your convictions, which doesn't mean that sometimes they shift and change. You might be convicted that if I could just get my calories below a certain point, blah, 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 that I'm going to lose weight. That's my conviction. This is what it is. And you're on blogs and everything, and you're telling everybody you got to eat in a calorie deficit. And then suddenly you get a little bit of a different education. You get a little bit more of an education. You start reading the studies and you read, well, it's not just about calories. And you figure out a little bit more, and your conviction shifts. It has to. You have more information. You have better information. You have all the things that you need in order to make a better conclusion, right? We all do this. And you know what this is? This is living like you mean it. That's what conviction does. Living like you mean it. You got one shot. You're going to hear me say that over and over again. One shot. This is one life. It's yours. What are you going to do with it? One shot. And the conviction that you have to live it fully and to leave it all out on the dance floor when you finally get onto the other side of glory, well, it's how you live your life. It's what you choose to do. It's who you choose to hang out with. Thomas Carlisle said conviction is worthless unless it's converted into conduct. Let me read that again, because this is an important one. Sarah, you know this, right? Sarah knows. Hey, if she says it twice, you know. Thomas Carlisle, this is the quote. Conviction is worthless unless it's converted into action. A lot of us like to flap our gums. We all do. But what are we doing about it? Are we, trolls on social media and saying, well, I believe blah, blah, blah. Are we actually doing something? We're going to go protest whatever and actually do something, or get on the phone and start calling people. It's wonderful to have a conviction, but something behind it needs to propel it into action. That's how we change things. And you know what conviction also leads to? When we stand behind what it is that we believe and we do the things that we believe that strongly, that leads to a massive amount of confidence. Have you noticed that? Confidence comes by what you do. It doesn't just show up. There's a lot of people who say, well, I lack confidence, so I can't fill in the blank. And the problem is it's, cart before the horse. You got to change it around. You just got to go out there and do it and see what happens. You will get confidence. And I'm going to tell you, I've told you this story before, but it's a good one. It's a doozy. But I was in the 80s, newly married. And I had this beater of a car, and it was filled with all the crap that I had as being a title rep, and I was wanting a new car and everything. And I told my boss, if I could do a certain amount of business, could he possibly get me a new car? Because we couldn't possibly get it. We just bought our first house. We didn't have any money. But I knew that the company had cars, that they gave their salespeople cars, just not in my state. But I knew that if I were to do what I said that I was going to do and negotiate this, I could possibly get a car. And don't you know, I did exactly. He said, well, if you can hit XYZ numbers, we'll get you a car. They got me a car. It shows you what happens when you make a decision to do something. I was convicted that I could do this. I knew I could do this. And he set high numbers, by the way. But I also knew what was riding on it. And what was riding on it was my own personal integrity and my dignity, for heaven's sakes, because I said, you betcha, I'm going to do this. You watch. That was number one. And number two was that I knew that if I put my mind to it, that this could be mine, that I could have that car. And do you know, this is all before any of this stuff started happening. I would go to bed at night and I would think about the new car. My car was a beater. It was held together with, I don't even remember what it was, like an old Toyota. I bought it because I could afford it, and it smelled like cigarettes. I didn't smoke. It smelled like, it was just filthy and awful. There was nothing you could do. And it was embarrassing if somebody had seen me come out, if I was going to a bank, which is who I used to call on, I'd go to a bank getting out in my high heels and pantyhose, and I'm getting out of this horrible little beater car. I didn't want anybody to see that. So yes, ma'am, that's exactly what I did. I set my intention. When you set your intention and you do it anyway, even though you are so intimidated, you know how many cold calls I did in high heels in whatever weather from I'd go to a park, an office park, and I just start knocking on doors. And I got all kinds of crazy business. People never called on them, but I did it. And you know why? I wanted that car. I wanted to get out of the beater, not thinking in terms of, hey, if I just work really hard and make more money, I could buy another car. No, it was like, no, I'm going to do that. That was just my thinking back in the day. This is what happens. Our conduct changes with our conviction, and the action that's behind it changes everything. And it turns into confidence, because the doing precedes the confidence. You're never going to get confident before you do something. If you sit and wait for confidence, you're going to be waiting a long time. It's like motivation and confidence. They're two best buds. They sit on the sidelines and say, you know what? It's just not, it's not going to show up until you do. They're two best friends, but they don't show up until you do. When they see you show up, they're going to come a knocking. Here comes your motivation. Here comes your confidence. Get her done. Get her done. Tony Robbins has a whole different thing on confidence, but his is really good, and I think it's worth kind of going through. He has 6 things. But, Tony Robbins, you might say he's a little bit confident. Yeah. I mean, that's one confident dude. Do you know his backstory? How he was like, washing his clothes in his bathtub and living in this just crappy little apartment, and he had nothing. But he showed up and he kept going until things finally started to go. His story, because of the story that it was, because of what happened with the confidence that he brought in as he did things that he didn't think he could do, that's what created his whole life. That's what created the whole trajectory of how he lived his life. I mean, this man is uber wealthy, and he has millions of followers all around the world. He's written, probably 20 New York Times bestselling books. He's done all the things, but he did the work, and the work is what formed his message. When you do the work, you get to talk about what you did. I've shared with you my story on how I got my catering gig, right? So here I am in my 20s with my other waitress friend who I dragged in. Come on, let's start a business. Why not? I know, let's do this. We don't know what the heck we're doing, but we do it anyway. And from one connection to the other connection, we found ourselves auditioning with 6 high-end, big-time experienced caterers there in Newport Beach. And we end up getting the Irvine Company. If you don't know who they are, a big real estate company in Newport Beach. And that was a big deal because it was every set. I worked my fingers to the bone. I just worked my tail off. But you know what? You know what I learned from all of that? I learned you can get almost anything that you want simply by applying yourself, simply by living by conviction. Keep talking, keep going, keep putting action behind it, and watch what happens. Watch what happens. And that is right there. My conviction would have been completely worthless had I not done something, had I not knocked on that one door, had I not asked for it, had I not said, can I try out too? It wouldn't have worked. But it worked because I worked and I didn't stop. It was, that crazy momentum thing again. Momentum's fabulous. Grab it. Knock those dominoes down. But Tony Robbins, same deal, mine is at a much lower level, but I'm telling you, Tony Robbins, His whole message is about what he did in his life and how he overcame it all. What he found out, he immersed himself in learning. This is why that's part of the what we're doing with the Hot Melt 30, reading every day and all of that, all the things. But his first thing was, you got to know your values. What are your values? What do you stand for? What are you about? Who are you? Where does your identity come from? When we know our values and we know who we are, what we are about, and what we're here to do, and remember, purpose changes as we change and as our circumstances and seasons of life change, then we get it, We're here on purpose for purpose. We get that. And we know who we are because we understand that we're the daughter of the King, the apple of his eye. And we were created and here on this earth at this time for a reason. That's a value. And it's a huge, strong value. It's a why. Even if you don't know what the why is, it is a why. And it's a why for you to pursue. Because there's no way that you're here right now just taking up space. There's no way. Why would that be? Why would that be? Created on purpose for purpose. I don't want you to ever forget that. You're so precious and so important. And I'm so glad you're here. If I feel like that, can you imagine how God feels about you? Can you imagine? Number 2, you gotta practice positive thinking. Now, I hate that positive thinking stuff, but it is a practice, isn't it? It's a practice to shift your thoughts, to build new pathways in your brain, to make a decision that what you're going to be focusing on is the thing that you want to expand. And if you're focused on all the negativity, if you're focused on all the garbage, man, that's what's going to show up. Because your reticular activating system is saying, oh, you want garbage? No problem. Boom, 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 boom. That's the big trash truck coming, by the way. Boom, 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 boom. I don't want trash trucks in my dreams at all. None of it. None of it. I want the warm fuzzies. I want my relationships to be warm and juicy and good and fun, building others up and being built up in turn. Friendships that are that way. Relationship with Mark, my children, you. That is what I want. That, all of that. And I projected that onto our Hot Melt Sprint group, by the way. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see it big and full and juicy and people having each other's backs. I didn't want it to be about me. I wanted it to be about the community. And look what we have. We've got that. Isn't that so cool? These are the things that we get to do when we start to turn on our conviction and allow confidence to take it all the way. It takes it all the way. When we decide that we are going to think about the right things and stop, believing that the old keys are going to open a new door, then we're going to find ourselves in the place of really embracing this idea of practicing different thoughts. Because our thoughts will predict what we do in the future. They will predict success, and they will predict what you're going to get back. They just will. So getting stuck in the negative loop, well, you're going to get more of the same. And I don't want that for you. That's why I'm coming back to this whole thing. The other thing is you got to accept your emotions, because you know what? Nobody says you have to deny your emotions. You have to accept them. And when we accept our emotion, we understand that we are emotional. We are feeling. But we also need to understand, is this even appropriate? Do I need to put this in the experience file? Is it time for this to go? How many times am I going to relay that same old saw, that same old story, and relive and recapture all those old feelings again and again? That is an Oregon Trail in your brain you don't want, right? We know that. But accepting your emotions isn't denying them. It's accepting who you are. I'm feeling a little blue. I'm feeling a little bad. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling awful or whatever. I'm having a hard time. Okay. That's cool. Now, what are you going to do about it next? It doesn't give you the permission slip to go wallow. It gives you It's accepting your emotions. But then the next thing is, now what's next, right? We all have that choice. And I know, I've been on the floor with the rug in front of my face, crying my eyes out. I've been there. I've been in dark spots. I've been on antidepressants. I've gone to the shrink. I've done all that stuff. And you know what? At the end of the day, it still required that I had to get up and do something. And when I saw all the money, all the time, all the energy, all spent on sitting there regurgitating all of this stuff, I said, where am I going? I'm working at Nordstrom, hanging up skanky bikinis that people don't have the decency to leave their underwear on for. TMI, I know. But that was my life. I'd just sold my business. I just lost my dad. All of this stuff was going on. And I was just having a really hard time of it. And I made a decision that the next thing that I'm going to do, I've done big things. I can do it again. I made a decision to get up. I made a decision to start taking care of myself better. I made a decision to start working out and to start eating better. We make decisions all the time. And when we accept our emotions, we also deal with them. And we also say, the next thing is the next thing is the next thing. Because when we do that, we're putting ourselves, on a path, not just sitting there and going through it all over again. And, I'm a side note here and disclaimer. If you need to see someone, go see someone. I'm not telling you not to see someone. But I'm also telling you that the responsibility for your life is yours and yours alone. You have the option at any time, to change your mind about things, to shift it a little bit. That's not me saying, don't see someone, don't take medication. That's not me saying that at all. But you have to still take responsibility for your life. A pill's not going to change it, and either as a therapist, without you participating fully. Number 4 is change your physiology. Now, I love this. This is so interesting. I've shared this before too, how our physiology shifts when we do certain things. I just posted it in the, what was the name of the group? The Hot Melt Sprint group, how your different emotions cause, and different things that you do cause these different body chemicals to emit. How cool is that? Dopamine and serotonin. When you exercise, you get a hit of endorphins, and all these different things help to create a different you. Because when you've got these hormones coursing through your body, you feel differently. What do you think these antidepressants do? They stir up the serotonin. Well, you can also do that yourself. You can bring it on. There's certain things that you can do. But when you change your physiology, when you decide to not, oh, it's so sad and I'm so bummed. When we do that, we start to shrink, get smaller, everything goes down. As opposed to standing up and putting your hands on your hip, putting your head high, and standing like Wonder Woman. I want you to go watch Amy Cuddy, Cuddy, TED Talk on your body's physiology and how your body language can certainly change so many things in the way you think about yourself. When I did my first full bloom, it wasn't full bloom back then. I think it was Take Back Your Life. But when I did my first workshop, that was one of the things that we learned was to stand, do your Wonder Woman pose and stand. When you stand like that, your physiology changes. And we can change our physiology simply by the way we stand, the way we think, our breathing. All of these things play into it. So when we start getting into these funks, there's a way out. You're never trapped by a funk. A funk might try to creep up on you and say, oh, let me just take away all of your joy and make you think about all these sad things. Change it. Just shifty, changey, do it. Because that enough is enough. And if you've had enough, I want to see some pinkies up. Pinkies up. We can be the women we want to be simply by making that decision. Communication skills enter into this as well. Your communication is important. So I posted something else in the Hot Melt Sprint group today. You make me feel, no, how about I feel icky if when XYZ happens, taking responsibility for your own feelings and not laying it on somebody else. That's convenient victimhood, in my opinion. It is. It's convenient. And you don't have to take responsibility for yourself. It's everyone else's fault. Well, my parents, well, my teacher wasn't nice to me. Well, they were mean to me. My teacher Spock pinched me and smelled like alcohol and cigarettes in 4th grade. And it was terrible. It was awful. And so here I am. Come on. We are so much bigger than our circumstances, aren't we? Yes, it all happened, and put it in the experience file. What'd you learn from it? Are you ready to move on? Are you ready to have the life you want to have? Or do you want to stay there in the pity zone? You? No way. Sarah's got herself in the hot melt pose. Hands on hips and pinkies up. Boop. I want to see that. We will in September. And the last thing is that you need to do, if you are to maintain your confidence, it's really simple. You reevaluate and you analyze. Back to the experience file. Just always look at, is this working for me anymore? Or is this kind of out? Or gosh, it was great while it lasted. Or do I need to let it go? Do I need to let this go? What do I need to do in order to hold on to this? You need to create more of it every day. Every single day is a new day, a fresh day to step into confidence simply by doing the things that you know are going to support your goals, support the vibrancy in the life that you want to lead, and to get you to the place where you're finally saying, this is really great. This is really great. I have to show you this. My quote of the day here on my little calendar is, you are a victim of the rules you play by. Oh, wait, no, I blew it, sorry. You are a victim by the rules you live by. What are the rules you live by? Are you confident? Are you convicted? Are you that woman who lives in her integrity, stands in her integrity, and moves forward every single day? Are you that woman? Confident and ready for the next thing? Well, I'm going to just say that you are. I believe you are. And if you don't see it right now, it's because you haven't chosen it right now. I'm asking you to make a choice. Make a decision for yourself, not against yourself, for yourself, because you're worth it. You're worth the time, you're worth the energy. And you know what else? It's the expectation that God has of you. Why would he create you if you're not going to live your best life? Anyway, that's all for today. That's enough, certainly. Tomorrow we're back to the letter C. We have some more C words to cover. And consistency is on the menu, because that's Wise Women's Wednesday. And that's my biggie this year. That's my word of the year. So we're going to be talking about consistency all day tomorrow. And I'm loving that you're showing up. Thanks, Sarah, so much. And Vanessa, Patsy, hold your head up. Yep, remember that song? I remember it. I remember it. Thanks for all the pinkies up. And I'll tell you what, you will find me in the Hot Melt Sprint group. If you have questions, send them into support@savingdinner.com. Question for Leanne on Friday so we can answer it on Friday afternoon. And don't forget that the Hot Melt 30 is sizzling hot. It is fire. Go check it out. Hot Melt, savingdinner.com/30. You'll find it. All right? Pinkies up. Love you guys. Peace be with you.
Thanks for watching. You can find us on YouTube on the Saving Dinner channel or on the Saving Dinner Facebook page. Check back daily for new episodes, Monday to Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you missed the live show, you can watch the replay. Until next time, pinkies up.